What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Breaking Bet here on this Wednesday, October 8th. Feels good to be back in action, my guy, Brad Thomas. Some traveling and scheduling obligations have drifted us apart these last couple weeks. My dear man has since returned to the kingdom of Breaking Bet. I'm JohnnyVTV. That's Brad Thomas. And we're talking a little NFL Week 6 action. But first, Brad, how you been, buddy? Where have you been? The people are asking.
Dude, I've been a little bit everywhere. Listen, before I get into it, I hope my voice can last this entire show because I was at the big house. Oh my God, just kidding. I was at the shoe. There was a joke for anybody who follows me on social. I accidentally called the shoe the big house. I was like going off of 2 hours of sleep, just trying to make some content, and it just totally went over my head. But I was at the shoe screaming my freaking lungs off one weekend. Weekend before that, did a little trip with my parents. Took them to Hard Rock Hollywood. Dude, we were in the presidential suite, all comped. My parents were living like king and queen while I was just having a good time, just sending straight vibes with them, bro.
You were at the Hard Rock and you didn't call me? Are you shitting
Nah,
me?
dude, it was a trip where I was just only hanging out with them, man. Like literally we were going in like a little 3-pack and we were playing 3 slot machines together the entire time. It was fun.
I didn't want to hang out with you guys and meet your parents. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
It was straight chilling bonding.
Cool. I'm not even worried about it. I don't know why you're making a big deal about it. It's no big deal, literally. So I'm not even mad or anything like that.
No, but it was good vibes.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Speaking of a raspy voice, I went back home last week, so that's why the show was tough to really find some time and a place to do it. I live. My house can be a madhouse. We have 3 dogs, and there's always just a ton of noise going on. It was tough to find a quiet spot. But anyway, I went to karaoke last Tuesday.
Okay.
Not to toot my own horn, I didn't do 1, not 2, but 3 Grammy-worthy performances.
Oh, dude.
Dude, I was killing it. It was honestly, this was something that if there was somebody in the record business there that night, I probably would have gotten a deal on the spot.
What's your go-to song?
All right. Okay, so I'll dish here. I'll dish. I swear to God, too. I wake up to this song every day. It's my 7 a.m. alarm. Closer by the Chainsmokers. That's my song. I fucking love that song.
Okay.
All right. Then I slowed it down a bit, went with Chicken Fried, Zach Brown Band.
Yes.
That was big. And then I brought the house down with all the small things. The whole place erupted. Playoff baseball going on. And I'm sitting here ripping all the small things. It was probably the best song of the whole karaoke. Maybe the only one that I would give a nod to was somebody was rocking Mr. Brightside. It was pretty good. That was definitely getting a lot of love from the crowd there.
That's lit. Week. I love me some karaoke. Listen, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I basically like love country music. I don't really listen to like much else except gangster rap and country music. So there's like a 99% chance I'm singing a country music song.
Yeah, the country's good, man. You got to.
It hits that karaoke, man.
It does hit. It hits, man. But Brad, we missed the last couple weeks together.
Yeah.
There's been some changes, got some injuries going on, some things that are shaking up the NFL landscape. So before we dive into the game by game, give me a little bit about what you're expecting for week 6.
We're in week 6 now where injuries are really starting to pile up. You're going to see the teams that are really deep have a lot of success to be able to, or not a lot of success, but a lot of good fortune to kind of, overcome the injury bugs. But there's going to be some teams that you really see what they're made of, right? At this point of the season, just assume everyone is hurt and they're playing through something. So I'm just really excited to see like how usage is affected, how these guys because you'll see it. You'll see the guys who basically don't practice until Thursday, and then to see how their usage is impacted. It's going to be a lot. I'm really excited because we're going to find some pennies laying on the ground, and we're going to think they're little Abraham Lincolns. They're going to turn out to be just piles of diamonds to make us rich.
Yeah. I think for me this week, I'm expecting who's going to do what we needed them to do last week.
Yes.
I texted you a few weeks ago on the show. Some of you might remember we did a little long shot Woody Marks, Parker Washington Tutty parlay. Missed it. The next week, it hits. They both hit. I'm like, you got to be kidding me that we're a week early on the touchdown parlay, which we would have did pretty good on. We would have had some ammo for the next week. And who is it going to be in week 6 that wronged us in week 5? But guys, as always, we got a good group here. Appreciate everybody tuning in, spending your Wednesday evening with us during playoff baseball. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for YouTube. As always, we still got the Discord wide open for the NFL season. We're off to a pretty solid start. And by the way, we're going to be talking about some awards and futures, maybe a little check-in here at the end after we're done breaking down game by game. Without further ado, Mr. Brad Thomas, why don't you kick us off here? Thursday night football, interdivision NFC East rivalry renewed. The New York Giants catching a fat 7.5 in East Rutherford, not New York. It is, in fact, New Jersey. Is this number too big on Thursday night?
Dude, it feels weird because, 7.5, a home dog, divisional dog seems like a lot. And the Eagles just haven't been great, right? Like, it's weird because they played against the Rams, and I was like, wow, the Eagles play against the Rams, played like crap in that first half, and luckily maybe, but still found a way to win that game. They actually covered in that game, and I didn't know if that was something where I was like, this is going to be a really scary Eagles team. Well, then they go and play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the super depleted Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in the biggest of revenge spots they could have asked for in the history of their team, because they're tired of losing to Tampa Bay, lost 4 of the last 5 and like 6 of the last 8 or something like that, which was insane. But I didn't think they played well against Tampa. I think it was another game where if Tampa might have been a little bit healthier, they would have probably beat them in that game. Then they get popped and caught by the Broncos, a team where the Broncos surprisingly have a pretty high ADOT against them. And Jalen Hurts, he threw for 280 yards. Devonta Smith had over 100 yards. A.J. Brown was involved early, and they took shots with him late in the game. That didn't come to fruition, but it felt like they had no true identity. I think when you have guys like A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith come forward and complain about their usage, it's easy to lose touch with what got you there, right? Good ground game, relying on your weapons outside when you need them. They ran the ball with Saquon Barkley 6 freaking times. You would think this is a game where they were getting beat by 21. No, they were actually up 10. They were up 14. And Saquon Barkley was only running the ball 6 times. There was a mix between the other backs, the backup backs, but it wasn't enough to really matter. The New York Giants also had themselves a shit show, and I didn't know what to take up from that game, right? Like, it looks like Jackson Dart will be a really good quarterback in time, but he made a lot of rookie mistakes. Scat made some rookie mistakes. That said, I still trust this Giants team a little bit to get the number covered coming off a loss at home in a divisional game, in a game where they really just have to keep the game in front of them. I like the 7.5. I don't want to play it at the 7 just in case it becomes the 7 and a hook. I mean, just because it hits the 7 and I miss out on the hook. From a metric standpoint, both teams aren't as impressive, right? Like, the run defense is not elite for the Eagles like it has been in the past, 8th in EPA per rush on defense. And then their pass defense, not elite like it has been in the past. I think it's actually pretty low, if I remember correctly. I think they're like 20th or 23rd in EPA per pass. Then you look at one thing that we talked about earlier in the season was the scramble percentage allowed by the Eagles. They don't close well when they're trying to sack the quarterback. They lose that rush lane integrity. What does that mean? Jackson Dart Jackson Dart's going to have these wide open lanes to run through, which helps him keep him in the game. That was long-winded. Holy shit.
If the sports betting thing doesn't work out for you, I think J.K. Rowling could use some help in writing her next novel, because that
was a long one. I didn't realize it. I was like, oh, I'm still going.
All right, so it's hard because this is the tough thing about betting and trying to handicap, because on paper these teams, the Eagles are so much better than the Giants, but like it's baked into the price at this point. The first coming into the season, like the episode before week one, week 2, week 3, we talk about this. The first 4 weeks, I think the public has an advantage. It's probably the biggest advantage they'll have against the books throughout the regular season.
Yeah.
Because the information and the sample sizes are so small, and nobody really knows because we haven't seen it, or we haven't seen a lot. Now we're starting to get to this point where we're close to approaching the midway point of the season, where we have an idea of the identities and whether these teams are actually good or not. I think we're at that point where we're about to cross 6 games for a lot of these teams. Now, in my opinion, something I've been keeping my eye on, not just this year, but in recent years. And I think I'm going to start rolling with it a little bit more, if maybe it's something even close to being 50-50. Just this year, if you've looked at all the primetime isolated games, the dogs are not just covering, but they're winning outright in a lot of them. There's maybe like 4 spots, I think off the top of my head, where the favorite has actually won and covered. Green Bay against Washington, the Broncos against the Bengals, the Dolphins against the Jets. It's not very big for the favorites so far this year. And 7.5 on the road in a divisional game is a large number. I feel like the Giants can stay inside of this here. So I would be leaning with the Giants. I just think when you have the abilities like Jackson Dart to make plays, and you're going to get Tyrone Tracy back, you got Wandale, they're just going to find a way to keep this a gross, grimy, lower scoring game and somehow stay inside this 7.5 number.
Like it.
All right. The NFL continues to punish everybody with these ridiculous overseas games. We got 2 from the Vikings last 2 weeks. Now the Broncos and the Jets are victim. I'll be honest, I didn't even realize until this morning that this game was overseas. I did not pay close enough attention, and it changed my entire handicap. So I thought originally this was a Denver game at the Jets. It is not. They're laying 7 overseas. Brad, I'll be honest, I like Denver even at the Jets. But sort of like this primetime games where the dogs are winning a lot, the same thing's kind of been happening with the overseas. It's an early start time, especially for Denver. It's even earlier than normal. Sloppy play, penalties, mental mistakes, and there's no true home field advantage. And the New York Jets aren't a good football team, but they're a team that has individual talent that can compete. The Broncos are coming off a very gutsy performance in Philly on the road as 4.5-point dogs, which, by the way, was on the Broncos to win outright. Not bragging by any means. Possibly a letdown spot, but I think 7 in this particular area where I don't think we've seen Denver play great football at any point this year is a little too much, in my opinion. I think I'm rolling with both New Jersey teams getting 7+ as dogs.
What a weird spot for both teams. Because let's talk about being a psychologist for a second. The New York Jets are like one of the most undisciplined teams in the NFL. And there's nothing really Aaron Glenn can do in year 1, I think, to change that culture. Now this is a team that's going overseas to play against a really disciplined team and a really well-coached team from a mental perspective. But then the Jets just don't have a die attitude, right? Like they could have died easily against the Cowboys and didn't. And Justin Fields was horrible for 3 quarters of that game. And then all he needed to be to make it even a resemblance of a game was good for 1 quarter. It's a bad matchup. I lean the Broncos just because I just don't want to trust an undisciplined team across the pond where mistakes happen and mistakes are magnified. But man, it's a bad spot where I don't want to bet it at all because the Broncos are coming off that massive win.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, I don't love it enough, so I probably won't bet anything. And I would lean the Jets, though. I just think getting 7 in a
King
neutral
seven's a
site
lot.
is a lot. Like this Denver defense does not look like the number one unit. I
No.
know they had an overall good performance against Philadelphia on the road there, but that Eagles offense really it's not necessarily looked like the team we're accustomed to seeing last year.
Yep.
They'll figure it out, I would believe. But I can't buy it right now with 7 points. The offense is not making up the difference. When the defense isn't truly shut down,
Yeah.
the offense has got to make up the difference, and they're not doing that. They need a true pass catching option after Cortland Sutton, like these one shot gadget plays to Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims, just consistently won't cut it.
No.
Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is officially a new regime in Cleveland. Joe Flacco is gone. Dylan Gabriel got the start against the Vikings. Looks like it's his show right now. Actually pretty solid against a tough defense. But Brad, what spot is this?
There's your Royal Mint.
Remind the folks what a Royal Mint spot is, please.
Man, the Royal Mint. What is it? The dog of 5 and a divisional dog 5.5 or something like that.
Road dog closing at
Road
exactly
dog
5,
closing at
5.5.
5.5. Yeah.
This was a 4.5 line the other day. It's moved up. It's not officially a Royal Mint spot until basically kickoff starts. But where do you see this one going? AFC North, Steelers off a bye, Dylan Gabriel getting the start here. You think the Steelers have what it takes to cover off the bye, or is this a Cleveland special?
Dude, man, I'm like really kind of disappointed in the Steelers because if the Steelers would have brought the defensive prowess that they've had years past to this season, they would be a team I'd be licking my chops about. Not because I think their offense is like all world beaters, but offense with the ability to move the ball when necessary that has become a lot better than I thought it would be with the pair with a good defense, but it's not been a good defense. This would have been a spot where I would have gladly taken Cleveland Browns under 15.5 team total. You look at Dylan Gabriel, he did well in his first start, but didn't really push the ball down the field. It was Judkins, the tight ends, yards after contact, yards after catch that really made this team move. I think if the Steelers can score 24 points, they'll cover. But it's actually the Browns defense that we should be talking about. Like, yeah, they've had their moments, but the Browns have been pretty solid. Like a top half defensive unit. Myles Garrett looking threatening. I lean the Browns to cover because they have a good run game and a good defense. That goes a long way when you're getting nearly 6 points.
If the line stays what it is, I'm going Cleveland. I think I have to. It's something I've preached for years. And there's very few instances where I won't take the Royal Mint. If it is a Royal Mint spot, I'm going to go Cleveland. If it goes down, if there's a buyback back down to 4.5, then I'll probably go with the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh probably wins the game. I mean, off the bye, I think there's matchup advantages for them. But I don't think Cleveland is as bad as what they suggest. Like individually, there's talent there. QJ was, we talked about it a few weeks ago on his first start. The plus 255 to score was nuts. Now look where he's been at. So if we're gonna stay here, or this line gets bigger, I'll put it to you this way: 5 and up, I'm going Cleveland. Under 5, I'm going Steelers.
Okay.
LA Chargers traveling cross country to Miami. It has been crashing down to earth for the Chargers. Lost their last 2 in a row. It was a disgusting loss against Washington last week. That was a game that they looked like they were about to run away. Mistakes, dumb penalties. It just completely cost them. Their defense unraveled. They're heading to South Florida. Almost was going to ask you if you want to go to this one, but it's 1:00. I'm not missing the slate for Miami Dolphins football. But is this a spot where the Chargers get right on the road, Bradford?
Yeah, I actually think they do. And it's weird to say because of the injuries that are starting to pile up for them down their left tackle, down their starting running back. Now you have to figure out, like, it's going to be Hassan, it's going to be Vidal. But this Dolphins team is in total dysfunction. And yes, it looks better. Their loss against the Patriots looks better. After the Patriots just beat the freaking Bills. But this team is just lost, man. They have players on the defensive line that can't get to the quarterback. They have a secondary that can be had. On the other side of the ball, they don't have an established running game. Their quarterback is sometimes clueless. Like, you're like, why did you throw that pass? Why didn't you throw the ball away in that situation? Now they're down Tyreek Hill. Not that he was being ultra effective either. Their best pass catcher is a guy who's 35 years old. I think the Chargers are in a really good get right spot because of everything that's going wrong for the Chargers. It's going worse for the Miami Dolphins.
We talked about how Miami fighting Buffalo down to the wire on Thursday Night Football a few weeks ago was probably the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
Because if Buffalo blew out Miami like they probably could have, then I think Mike McDaniel was gone. But that kind of gave him hope. But then you go to New England, you get the brakes beat off of you, and then you blow a 17-point lead against Carolina. So I don't really know what Dolphins leadership is doing here. I don't know why Mike McDaniel is the coach, but it's really hard to bet on them as long as he is their coach. I mean, they showed a little bit of fight against New England. They showed fight against Buffalo, and then the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah,
but these last couple weeks, man, I don't understand what they're doing, why they still have him. I think this is a Charger spot. I think Jim Harbaugh is probably going to put his foot down and say, enough's enough, guys. Let's get it together. Let's get back to what we were doing the first few weeks of why we were off to such a hot start. Because, listen, man, Chargers sitting at 3-2 right now. A win right here gets a lot of things going back in their favor. 4-2, got some momentum. They're right in the thick of it in the AFC West right now. So I'm going with the Chargers, win, cover. And interestingly enough, the money line's under 2-1. I think Chargers are going to be not just a 4.5 for me. For my parlay bettors out there, I'm guilty of it as well. I think they'd be a parlay piece for me on the money line as well. I'll give them a shot to rebound. The running back issue, the injuries are mounting up for them. The running backs now, the room has become incredibly thin in the blink of an eye. That's a concern. Like, what are we going to get from Vidal or Haskins? But I think they're going to find a way to get this done.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think this team, it wasn't like a team that was built where they needed a bell cow back, at least not this year. And that's the evolution of this team. But what's also funny is I don't think Harbaugh ever needed to have a bell cow back in his offense. I think his offense schemes backs really well.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. New Orleans hosting the New England Patriots, Brad, 3.5. Am I nuts, or do I think this is a letdown spot for New England?
Dude, I don't know what to think of the Patriots because I don't think the Patriots are any good. It's killing me. I'm just watching the Patriots play football, and I don't know what it is.
I got to be honest. I think this is going to be either one of the biggest trap lines or one of the biggest no-brainers. Like, hey, maybe New England, not say they're not for real or they're for real, but the work in progress is starting to really trend up. Because, like, in my opinion, okay, you put up a 40 bean against Carolina. It's not that impressive. You go into Buffalo in prime time and take down the Bills. But that's like their Super Bowl. That's a game that they're
Super Bowl,
circling on
bro.
their calendar, bro. That's their Super Bowl. And in truth, like, it was an impressive game. But again, it's one that Buffalo kind of let them hang around. They had a ton of penalties. And I'm not saying New England didn't deserve to win. They did. But you play that game probably 8 out of 10 times, Buffalo probably wins that game. I think a lot of people might be riding high on New England. I'm not concerned with what other people are doing, but just thinking about why are they free in a hook? You know what I'm saying? I think there's an issue here with maybe New England's on a big sell high spot.
Yeah.
Let down. New Orleans isn't good, but they're not bad. They've played really tough at home. They played Arizona tough at home week 1. They played San Francisco tough at home in week 2. They beat a Giants team that has some playmakers. I'm not sitting here saying the Giants are a great team. New Orleans, they are what they are. But there, again, is individual talent here that can be matchup nightmares. Rashid Shaheed showed that off.
Yep.
85-yard touchdown. Chris Olave, still Chris Olave. Alvin Kamara, Kendrick Miller, Jawan Johnson. The defense is, defense is the defense, but capable of making a play here or there. Taysom Hill's back. I don't know if New Orleans wins this game, but I like them getting a 3.5 at home here.
New Orleans did everything that is right in that game to get a victory, right? Completed passes around 70%, deep passes over 8 yards, didn't take a sack, turned the Giants over multiple times. They were solid on third down, 47%, 100% on fourth down conversions. They did everything that was right. And I watched that game from start to finish. The place was jumping. It didn't feel like that for any of the Saints games so far this season. Then you have on the other side of the ball where the Patriots, are they 3 points better than the Saints? Like 3 points. Can I pass on this? I'm going to pass on this game. I think the Saints the 3 is the number you should take. But I just don't think the Saints are good enough for me to warrant them coming off of their first win of the season. This is a team that could very well have been 0-4, 0-5.
And that's okay. That's why I like us doing what we do. We go through every single game.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't have to bet every game.
Facts.
You don't have to bet. That's an important note. You do not have to bet every game. Just talking about what we feel here.
Makes it fun too.
This wouldn't even make top 7 of my plays this week in terms of side. I have no desire to bet this game, but if I'm looking at betting it, I do think the Saints catching 3 and a hook at home is the side I will go.
I think this is a game where you want to, if you see Drake May around 215.5 passing yards, I think this is a game where you want to take that. They're not going to get much. They're not going to get much on the ground. They haven't been getting much on the ground. And I think the Saints at home do enough to stay in the game to make it competitive, even if they do lose.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Seattle. Seattle. Underdog, traveling cross country to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably one of the longest flights you can make in the United States continental.
Yes.
This is a long flight. Seattle to Miami is probably the longest one.
Yep.
Look, I liked Seattle last week against Tampa to win outright. I like them. I like Seattle at 3, but as soon as that line moved to 3.5,
yep.
Yeah, Tampa 3 and a hook made my official card because I said all week, listen, I like Seattle to win, but Tampa is more than live. Injuries be damned. It doesn't matter because they have an absolute dog at quarterback. We're rocking the Tampa Bay Bucks stuff today, by the way.
Let's go Bucks, baby.
Here's the problem. I can give Seattle a pass for losing that game, even at home. I can give them a pass because, Brad, me and you preseason both had Tampa Bay to win the NFC this year.
Yep.
We both like them for the same reasons. But one thing that I can't get over, because this is not a one-off, it's not an isolated issue. The Seahawks defense has not been performing to the level that I expected. Seattle was a team that was projected to finish the last in the NFC West. They had the worst odds. And I said, I don't agree with it. I'm higher on Seattle this year than probably most of the market is.
Yep.
But I thought their defense was going to be a lot better. Their secondary is supposed to have dogs in it. But all they did last week was be giving up 3rd and longs to Tampa's offense. I get Ibuka's been a stud, but one of the big changers was the 3rd and 15 that Baker hit Ibuka on for a touchdown.
Yep.
Like, there was one place they were going with that football. Granted, like, Baker made an unreal throw, but if memory serves, they're playing man-to-man instead of playing a zone and dropping. But it was all game they kept giving up these 3rd and longs. They couldn't get off the field. They give up 38 points. And granted, they haven't been giving up that many points in some of these other games, but same sort of sentiment. They can't get off the field. They can't come up with the big play. That's kind of concerning because when you consider the talent they have, and Mike McDonald's supposed to be a guy that's commanding the defense here in terms of schematics and execution, that's the thing that bothers me. But I'm not on this Jacksonville hype train. Great win on Monday against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. But let's be real. Mahomes makes a ridiculously bad decision and a subpar throw going into the end zone that goes for 6 the other way. A 14-point swing. KC was up 14-0. I haven't seen anything from Jacksonville's offense where I'm like, wow. Like, Brian Thomas's lack of involvement, and it's not, I don't think it's all his fault. I'm not saying Brian Thomas hasn't done anything wrong. He's had some drops. Sometimes looks like he's taking plays off. Travis Hunter hasn't been anything special. Made a couple nice plays. He hasn't been special. I mean, really, you can make a case that their best pass catcher has been Parker Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis Etienne's been good. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been great, in my opinion. They struggled against Houston. Their defense has been okay. I don't think Jacksonville's that good. Even with a long travel cross country, I'm going with Seattle to get right here. I think they're going to win this ball game.
Yeah, I don't think Jacksonville is as good as it's being made out to be. Seattle's in a really tough travel spot, but what you learned from Seattle was, despite how the injuries started to pile up for their defense and their secondary, despite how Baker always felt like they were punching him in the jaw, that offense was legit. There's no better NFL wide receiver right now at this moment than Jackson Smith-Njigba, at least as importance to his team.
Maybe Puka. Maybe
Ibuka, right? We got to be on the Ibuka train here for our bet.
Puka. Well, Puka and Ibuka.
Oh, let's talk about both of them. I think Puka's going to win the Offensive Player of the Year. That's a very good shot, especially with his high usage. But I just feel like the Seattle team just keeps going. But I lean their money line here. Any bets that I was kind of looking at this was a hard one from a player prop perspective when you're predicting lines as well, too, because the Jacksonville Jaguars defense is so much better this year than it was last year. And that's just been a belief that they've had. And you can pass on Seattle, right? So I lean Seattle in this one.
We're going Parker Washington back to the well here, 5-1 to get in the end zone.
Dude, Parker Washington get in the end zone after Strange gets hurt too. It's another pass catcher out.
I gotta be honest, dude. I think I'm gonna start taking Parker Washington TD almost every week. I mean, when you consider what Seattle secondaries look like so far, and the fact that Parker Washington seems like maybe his snap share has been solid and it can only go up now with Strange hurt, he's been arguably their most dynamic receiver, like the big play guy. I like me some Parker Washington, man. I think honestly, I'll tell you who else is starting to really catch my eye, and it's not just after last week. AJ Barner, 3-1. He's becoming a sneaky link here for Sammy D. Catching him 3-1 for a tutty. I think I like me some AJ Barner.
Not bad.
Outside the obvious, like ETN or Kenny Walker or JSN or Sharps, like I think some of these guys are live, man.
Jason doesn't even get that many red zone targets for his price.
he's not getting enough looks in the red zone. Bro, come on. We're all over that. Catch his leader. I mean, he's got a ways to go because Puka's being targeted like an absolute hog. But I lean Seattle here, man. Some of it's the preseason love that I had on them. But I haven't seen anything from Jackson where I'm like, damn, this team, the Liam Cohen experience has been real. It hasn't. I mean, who have they beaten before Kansas City? And Kansas City kind of gave that game away. I mean, they beat Carolina, they beat Houston. Who else did they beat? Carolina, Houston. Who was the third team?
Who the Jags, Carolina, Houston. Bro, let's look it up. We have the internet.
I'm looking it up. Hold on. Can't remember shit. 49ers. I mean, that was a good win, but Brock Purdy, I mean, still hurt. And they had 4 turnovers, and Brock Purdy still had a chance to lead the game-winning drive at the end there.
Yep.
So I like Seattle personally. That is not something I'm putting in a parlay, though, FYI. That is a straight bet. All right, Arizona at Indianapolis, 6.5. The 6.5 has not been kind to us for these home teams. I don't know what it is. Always seems to be a team blowing it when they're comfortably leading. Tampa against the Jets comes to mind. Cardinals against the Panthers comes to mind. But here we have Indianapolis, 6.5. FYI, everything's on FanDuel just to keep it uniform. I haven't checked all the books, but the 6.5, you're also laying 122, which tells us what, Brad? At least on FanDuel, this is close to tipping to 7. Now, Brad, Kyler Murray is questionable with a foot injury. Obviously, that needs to play out for them, but to me, it doesn't matter. I mean, Arizona is coming off one of the biggest disaster losses in modern NFL. How they lost that game is insane. And if you had a survivor ticket, if you had a bet on them, I don't even know what to say, man. Go have a good cry.
Yeah, just pour that one out. That was, oh my gosh.
I mean, that was terrible. That was terrible. And, how did they respond to that? Did they toughen up and bounce back? Personally, I don't think so. I think as talented as Kyler Murray is, as talented as Marvin Harrison are, I don't think either of them are dogs. You can't have both your 2 best players on offense or 2 of the 3 best players on offense not be dogs.
Yeah.
You can't have it. And Indianapolis at this point, we talked about this before the Rams-Colts matchup. Big litmus test for that team. Indianapolis should have won that game. And I wasn't sold on Indy coming into the year, Brad. And I'm getting there. I'm not fully there yet, but I'm getting there. Like, hey, okay, maybe this team is good. At home, matchup advantages against a team that I don't know if they're mentally tough enough to rebound from. I like the Colts here at 6.5. What say you?
Dude, I like the Colts a lot. Like, what's crazy about the Colts is like everything is going well for them. Colts, 7.04 sack percentage on defense. The pressure they're getting on the quarterback then translates to the passing game where teams have a low ADOT in the 5s against them. I don't really care about their advanced analytic numbers and EPA or success rate. They're good. I don't care about that on defense. I care about, because really on defense in the NFL in this situation, you just want to win at the line of scrimmage, right? That's all we care about. Now let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. They're number 1 in almost every advanced analytics stat category, except for explosiveness through the air. it doesn't matter when you're completing. This is off the top of my head. There, when you're completing like what was he close to like 68% of his passes?
Yeah,
everything's going well. We need one thing we didn't even mention: the run game. The run game's going well for this team. I thought it would be fluky. Like, hey, are they going to be able to keep this up? But they have done nothing to make me think otherwise. I think they cover the spread. I think they win another one big. I just don't think this Arizona team's any good.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Jonathan Taylor's been awesome, and I feel like a fool. For not grabbing him. Listen, I could have lived with not taking him preseason because there was a lot of question marks, not being a Monday morning quarterback. Because I think we talked about this, like JT's talented, but what is this offense going to look like? They might stack the box. Like it was impossible to know Daniel Jones was going to have this kind of a turnaround. He was 22-1, I want to say, 22, 25-1 after week 2. Like, okay, like they didn't really beat anybody. I mean, they got lucky against Denver. Then he was 15-1, I think, after week 3. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. And then I do this a lot sometimes, and I'll admit it. Yeah. I look at a number. I really like, hey, that's a good bet. I should bet it. And then I don't end up betting it for some reason. I like it. And then after that, boom. I mean, Taylor and Puka, it's these two guys have been absolutely awesome, dude. So it's really hard to put that one up there, but I like Indy as well. Interesting, Brad. Lamar Jackson's status is in doubt again. We saw what happened. Last week against Houston. The number would indicate that Lamar's probably out again at 7.5, although it's not been confirmed. Personally, I want to wait until something is actually confirmed before I bet this, in case there's a late surprise. But I want you first handicap this as if Lamar will not play.
I think this would be a surprising position where I'd probably surprise a lot of people, and I would take Baltimore's team total in this game. It's at 18.5. And people are like, dude, Cooper Rush, have you seen him? But Cooper Rush is going to get sacked. He will take his lumps. He probably will turn the ball over, which is why I don't want anything to do with the spread. But one thing that we've seen from the Rams, and this wasn't just last game, the Rams secondary is afraid. They have a 130-pound DB and Emmanuel Forbes out there. They are playing off every single snap. And when they're playing man, they're off. Then it's like you're giving 3 to 4 yards cushion to these guys. You don't have to be good against them. Will that translate to winning a game for a guy like Cooper Rush? Probably not. But they will have opportunities to move the ball down the field, and it will make the life easier for Derrick Henry. It's a weird game, though, for the Ravens because they want to try to do something, but also, like, I just always feel weird when you have a mobile quarterback and, like, the best option as a backup is Cooper Rush. Like, even if Lamar goes down for half a game, you want your backup to be able to go in there and be like, well, we have a good opportunity to at least stay competitive in this game.
I gotta be honest, dude. I think I might lean the Rams with the hook. I fall into the abyss here with that, but I understand what you're saying, and the Ravens have no place to go but up, and the Texans defense and the Rams defense are two different units for sure. But I don't know, man. Like, is the Ravens offensive line going to be able to hold up against what the Rams front four is doing? You know, I think that's definitely a concern. And then here's the other issue. The Ravens defense has been getting gashed. So
hugely gassed. And Rams team total is plus money for them to get at least 4 touchdowns, which has happened in every Ravens game but one.
So the thing is, the Ravens defense has been a turnstile. That continues against a very, very competent offense with the Rams. And it gets to a point like last week where it's just too big for them to run the ball and they take Derrick Henry out of the game. Then we're left with Cooper Rush dropping back 40 times, which probably doesn't have a high success rate. I'll be honest. I'm leaning right now on Wednesday evening, taking the Rams with 7 and a hook, especially extra rest. They're pissed off the way they pissed that game away against the 49ers, which, by the way, in overtime, who gets the ball and defers? Who wins the toss and defers? It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of in my life. I could probably count on one hand how many times we've seen that. Who does that?
Weird.
Who defers? It's the dumbest thing ever. So stupid. But I'm also probably taking a look at the Rams team total over. I'm looking at it on DK right now. It's 26.5. The over is minus 120. I think I'm probably taking a look there. I don't know if they're going to be able to come up with stops. I don't. I think Matthew Stafford's going to be able to find anybody and everybody that's open. Puka, just keep getting his 15 targets. Kyron, Tutu Atwell, Tay. I feel like they're going to be able to score, man. So I think the Rams team total is something that I'd be looking at. I'd probably play it out to 27.5. 4 touchdown mark solid, but 26.5, I think I'm going to look at there as well. May make that official, not 100% yet.
Word.
All right, Dallas -3 at Carolina. Brad, Panthers with an improbable win last week. Don't look now. Dallas is they're looking all right. You think the Cowboys are 3 points better than the Carolina Panthers?
I do. I think this line is wrong. I think that the Panthers are getting love for being at home. The Panthers, what they're going to do well against teams has been run the ball. And what they've done well in success is getting pressure. I don't think they'll do either of those things in this game. I think that the Panthers have had some moments of brilliance, but also the lapses of what the heck is going on. On the other side of the ball, what we've seen from Dak so far this season is an unwillingness to lose. He has done. Listen, I bet him 40-1 to win the MVP. Will it happen? Probably not. But he has done what he needs to get the ball to where it needs to go. The run game's starting to get better. And close your eyes, but their run defense is starting to get better. I think the Dallas Cowboys win this game. I probably would have made this 4.5. And it feels gross on a road team, but on a neutral, what are we making this? Like, we're making it at least, I don't know, 5?
I like Dallas here too. I don't buy Carolina. I think Miami's just that bad. Bryce Young got away with some stuff last week. I like Dallas. I think everybody's going to be all over the Rico Dowdle revenge spot. It's crazy because he had such a good game last week. Now his line to get in the end zone is plus 105, same as Hubbard. So that's pretty interesting. I do like Dowdle. I'll probably be looking at some overs, maybe get back in the end zone. I don't even know if Hubbard's definitely going to play. I think he's trending in the right direction to play, but he was already losing snaps, and I don't think he should be, but he's already been losing snaps to Dowdle. And after a 200-yard masterpiece, I think Dowdle's fighting to at least get this backfield to 50-50. So. Gross game alert. Tennessee at the Raiders. I mean, it's a stay away for me, but what about for you?
Dude, man. This just feels like one of those games where the Raiders win and cover, and not like they even do anything impressive, but they just be the better of the bad teams. But like, there's no real reason for me to bet this game outside of Ashton Genty rush yards. I think I take Ashton Genty rush yards. It'll be important to see what happens with Brock Bowers. His status is still questionable, but the Titans, man, after what happened last week, I don't think it's like a building block. I think they go to Las Vegas, a young team outside of the old wide receivers, and they go have a little bit of fun and lose to the Raiders.
It's interesting. There's been some buyback on the Titans. There was a 5.5 on the Titans. I think today, on FanDuel, you're getting 4.5 on. DK, you're getting 3.5. So there's some market disagreement, and there's been some love on the Titans coming in here. Yeah, man, look, I'd probably be cool taking DK's 3.5 with the Raiders. Like, they're not good, but again, we've talked about this a couple times this year where there's different variations of the Raiders. They're either really bad, okay. Like, I think they're somewhere in the middle. Like, they're not a good football team, but they have the ability to string together a few good quarters that can make up the difference. And
Yeah.
look, man, I love what I saw from Cam Ward in the clutch last week. I think he's a dog. I think he's going to be a superstar. I just think it's taking longer to develop. You know, we're an impatient society, especially sports fans. Like, especially when you hear hype on somebody like Cam Ward, you want him to come in immediately and just start putting up MVP numbers. Like, it doesn't always work like that. Even highly touted prospects might take a little while to get there. And it's not like he's been put in a situation where the Titans roster is the Monstars. Like, I think they have players, but I think there's a lot of work in progress that has to go into this. I think at bare minimum, the Raiders coming off an ass beating in Indy show a little pride here.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably lean Raiders 3.5.
Yep, I did too.
Genty minus 150 to get in the end zone. DK's been better about putting up props and touchdowns earlier in the week, although we don't have a full boat, like no full book on all the numbers here, but Genty's going to be interesting. Prime time, baby. Not literally, but our show here. San Francisco at Tampa, a flat 3, big dog. Is it me? Or does it seem like every time Tampa and San Francisco square off, at least in the recent years, Tampa lays it down on the Niners? I'm going Tampa minus 3. This is one of my favorite bets of the week. Rocking the Bucs shirt because I like the Bucs this week. Mike Evans might be back, maybe. But even if they're missing Irving and they're missing Evans, it doesn't matter to me because the biggest X factor on this field isn't going to be Christian McCaffrey. It's going to be Baker Mayfield. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home win this game, man. There's no let up on this team.
Yeah, I agree, but I actually agree in a different way. I'm on the 49ers plus the 3 because I think the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have played all season, and it's nothing negative. They've always gotten the job done, but it's been close. It's been final possession, last score games. Getting an entire 3 seems massive. I'm not a believer in this 49ers team. What happened against the Rams was a little bit of luck, a couple fumbles that went their way, especially one late in the game. The Rams really weird defense. This defense will be much better. I just think the way the Bucs are playing with having to play either from behind or win it late, that just gives so much value to the 3 there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I see what you're saying, but I don't buy the rate. I don't buy the 49ers at all. I don't even know who's going to start this week. Is Purdy coming back or is it going to be Mac Jones? Mac Jones has been banged up. Is Ricky Pearsall going to play? I mean, the only certainty, Kittle might be returning this week. I'm not 100% sure on that. The only constant in this offense is Christian McCaffrey. Like, sure, McCaffrey will eat. McCaffrey will put up he'll put up his numbers. But I don't think the San Francisco defense is what it was 4 or 5 years ago. They're not the gold rush anymore. I just think Tampa is going to find a way to move the ball. And listen, like Bucky Irving I love Bucky Irving. He's a stud, but Rachaad White in a short stretch here is serviceable.
And they showed they didn't need to hand the ball off 35 times.
Yeah. I don't think San Francisco traveling cross country off a big win with injuries of their own and not really convinced on their offense or their defense. It just doesn't seem like a spot that I would want to bet them. I like Tampa. I like them coming into the year. I'm going to keep liking them throughout the year. They got a dog in Baker Mayfield. Cincinnati, Green Bay, 14.5 points. You want to walk me through this one?
Yeah. We get Mr. Joe Flacco back, but this has got to be the worst situation for Joe Flacco to start. Joe Flacco is about as movable as this dollar bill. Stiff. This is the strip club dollar bill. This is Joe Flacco. He ain't moving in that pocket against a bad offensive line. the Green Bay Packers are going to put pressure and pressure and pressure on him. They might break the man before the halftime. Micah Parsons might get to him. I think the Packers cover this just due to the fact that the Bengals are in such a really bad situation with that offensive line, and they have the most immobile quarterback now sitting behind it.
Call me crazy. I think I'm going to take the Bengals 14.5.
Not crazy. 15
this is
points is
a
a lot.
lot of number.
It's a lot of points for an NFL game, dude.
Even on the road, man. I know Flacco's not mobile and the Bengals line's bad, but I at least liked them showing a little bit of sack last week when Detroit looked like they were about to pull away. Made it interesting. Ultimately, look, man, I like Green Bay. I think they're a really good team coming off a bye, should be rested. They got some dudes that can get after the passer. But I think even in his first start where he really hasn't had time to learn the playbook, I don't really feel like if Flacco's even getting a little bit of time, that this Green Bay defense is going to be able to consistently cover T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to make enough plays to keep this within a 2 touchdown rate. And that's not a big ask. I mean, look, just for perspective, Buffalo was, I think, a 14.5 point against New Orleans. They closed as a 14.5 point against New Orleans a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just think it's a lot of points.
It is.
Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't know, man. I just think 14.5. There's so many reasons why we would take the Packers. They're at home. They're off a bye. Their defense can absolutely get after Joe Flacco behind a really bad offensive line. Their offense should be able to shred a Bengals defense that's gotten shredded by everybody else. There's a million reasons why Green Bay should be able to cover this number. And listen, if they win by 40, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's worth a shot here behind Flacco with some weapons against a Green Bay team on the road. I do. There's not much in terms of the X's and O's that really support the Bengals, but I don't know. I think this is a Cincinnati spot, in my opinion. All right, Detroit at Kansas City. Ooh, baby boy. Big one here. This number is inside of 3. I do not think we will get a 3. I would be very, very surprised if that happens. I like Detroit. Listen, I'm gravitating, at least for the foreseeable future, more towards taking dogs in prime time. Not necessarily blindly, but a lot more than I won't be. But this has nothing to do with it. I like Detroit. I know a lot of people are on the Kansas City, Mahomes won't lose back-to-back prime time, all that shit. But I like what Detroit's doing, dude. I like what Goff's doing, spreading the ball around. I think their defense is going to play well enough. Dan Campbell's a guy that's not afraid to challenge Mahomes and Andy Reid in Arrowhead. I feel like the Lions get this one done. Close, late Lions.
Kansas City Chiefs, 11th EPA per pass on offense, right? Success rate, Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is the Kansas City Chiefs. What I should paint this a little picture, who are historically like top 3 total. Let's go EPA per play. I think that's more important. I guess not as bad as I thought they were. I thought they were 13th. They're 6th in EPA. Oh yeah, that's why. That's right. Because if you take away Patrick Mahomes' runs, it changes their EPA per rush and their EPA per play, and they go from being number 1 in EPA per rush to like 13th, which is not a good mark for them. I am really worried about this Kansas City Chiefs team because it's the Patrick Mahomes show, and that's not saying that Patrick Mahomes is doing this because he's like I don't know, trying to do too much. It's just because it's not a good team, and he has to overexert himself to have any kind of, I don't know, great performance from his team. I like the Lions. I think the Lions are going to be able to play enough defense. Offensively, they got things going back after week 1 to kind of what they want to do and how they want things to be established. and I'm getting points. Like that's what's blowing my mind is like I'm getting points. I'm not even laying points, and I think that the Lions are the better team.
I think they're the better team. I think they're the more complete team. They have a lot more weapons, a lot more guys who do damage. Like Mahomes has to be Superman. They're not running the ball well. I don't know what the hell Andy Reid's doing with Isaiah Pacheco. Like this guy's gotten, I think, less than 10 carries in pretty much every game. But he's looked good. He's got a good average, but he's just not getting the volume. And I understand, hey, we want to keep him ready for the playoffs coming off injuries last year, but come on, man, enough's enough. It's week 6. You gotta let this guy go. Like Kareem Hunt is not an every down back. They're using him in the red zone, virtually wiping out Pacheco. But he's getting a lot of snaps. I just don't understand what Pacheco's looked pretty impressive. They're even playing the 7th round rookie or 6th round rookie. I don't know what's going on here. They're not able to run the ball consistently effective unless Mahomes is scrambling and picking up 25 on a broken play. I think Detroit's the better team. I do.
Yeah, man. They're searching for answers in that run game. They're searching for answers in the pass catching game. Like the only thing that looks good for this entire team in their offense is the deep ball to Thornton.
Yeah. All right, Buffalo at Atlanta. I'll let you start this one off, Brad.
I think the Bills win and cover, but the Bills defense still stinks. Their run defense specifically. I think that you should take everything you can in Bijan Robinson's stock in this game. But Michael Penix has been fooled by lesser defenses, pass defenses. I think he'll get fooled in this game. The Bills just lost to a division foe. This is a non-division primetime game. I think Atlanta gets embarrassed in this one.
So I see two sides of the same coin. See Buffalo after losing at home in primetime last week, coming in and just taking it out on Atlanta. But then I also see Atlanta coming off a bye at home in a really big test.
Yeah.
Putting up a good fight. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to go with Atlanta at home, getting 4.5. I think they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, should be rested. Buffalo, listen, I think they are a very good team, and I think they're going to be frustrated and ready to take that out. But that's still not going to likely fix their issues. Their secondary is a mess.
Yeah.
Their front seven isn't playing up to par. You know, we've had these moments where Josh Allen's got to be heroic. Like their skill players have like been Jekyll and Hyde. Whether Keon Coleman has a big game then disappears, or Khalil Shakir, same thing. They don't really have that true wide receiver one that we can rely on. James Cook's been good overall, but then like it feels like there's games where they kind of get away from him and don't give him the allotment of carries he needs to be getting. I don't know. I have a weird feeling Atlanta's going to show up and play hard in this one and keep this one close. This is the kind of game that I can see late tie game. Bills have the ball last. Josh Allen goes down, gets the game-winning field goal. Bills win by 3. That's how I see this one playing out.
I think
I'll put it to you this way. I think Atlanta's either going to lose by Atlanta's going to lose on a last-second field goal, or they're going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
It's like the Bills. This Bills team is like a team that reminds me of a team that can't blow anybody out when they're a big favorite, but when they're like a 3-point favorite, they have a very good chance of blowing people out.
Yeah. That's honestly probably how I see this one playing out. Interesting. Bijan's minus 135 to get in the end zone. I think that's good. I think Bijan getting the end zone solid this week. I think James Cook minus 155 is decent. London maybe. It's just there's a lot of like ancillary guys that could either boom or bust, I think. But yeah, some of these props are up, so definitely interesting. All right, last one on Monday night, the finale. I like these. I know people complain. I like these double dips though. It's great for betting.
have fun for the viewer, for me, right?
It's great for betting. You want to do a touchdown score for each team on Monday. Gives you a lot more options.
Parlays are easier.
They're
You have
easy.
two games.
You don't have to try and condense 7 different things to happen on one game for everything to go right. Game script. Playoff baseball should be on. So there's going to be opportunities to bet here on Monday. I'm excited for that. But Chicago Bears at Washington. It's a battle of the 1 and 2 pick from a couple of years ago. JD versus Caleb. Brad, I'll be honest. Again, it's hard for me not to like start gravitating towards these underdogs in prime time. But I'll be honest, dude. I don't think Washington is 4.5 points better than Chicago. I don't think they played. I think that the Chargers gave that game away. The turning point was a blocked punt that went for a touchdown. Not only did the Chargers not get the touchdown, which Lad McConkey was on my fantasy team, but they don't even get the ball. They give the ball back because of the penalty. And then Hampton gets hurt. Listen, I'm not excusing the Chargers' play and writing it off for Washington. Washington got tough. They played tough. But I think Chicago's gonna be tough in this one. They're off a bye. Even on the road. I think I like the Bears in this one here, getting 4.5.
I like the Bears as well. Offense is starting to become better. I actually think both running backs will be able to have a huge impact. Now to be which quarterback can have the better impact. I just haven't seen enough defensively from this Washington team to be like, man, they're really going to scare me against an offensive-minded head coach who considers himself an offensive genius, right? So I think the Bears keep this close. That's all I have to say about this game.
Rome Daddy, get in the end zone.
Dude, it's been like freaking free every week.
I fucking love me some Rome Daddy. He is a beast.
I can't wait to see what they do with his yards, right? Like with his yard's gonna be nice too. It's gotta be.
Yeah, I don't think they have it up yet. But Rome Daddy's my guy. I think I'm probably taking Rome Daddy. Rome Daddy's going in the Tutty parlay. So let's cook up a little Monday night Tutty parlay.
Oh yeah.
All right. To wrap it up here, let's do a little check-in. We're through 5 weeks. Anything in terms of awards or futures that you found interesting? Maybe some wrong numbers, teams that are being a little discounted or overhyped in the market even? What's caught your eye?
Dude, you know what's funny? But this is like, I just want to say how exciting this would be for a Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even if it doesn't come through for Emeka Egbuka to be Rookie of the Year or Baker Mayfield to be MVP. I have tickets on both. That's just like really fun. Baker was plus 1,400. He's down to plus 950 after 1 week. Emeka Egbuka after 1 week was from plus 200 down to minus 125. I did think that there's some value in the offensive player of the year market where you look at Jonathan Taylor as a good option at plus 320. Jonathan Taylor, because the fact that Jonathan Taylor is going to easily get the ball every time, right? Where Puka Nacua has to be thrown the ball, especially with touchdowns, right? And then you have to deal with both of them staying healthy, him and Matthew Stafford. I thought that was pretty interesting. I was trying to look up, there was a there was a milestone award I wanted to go after. Give me 30 seconds. You go for yours, and there was a milestone award I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, look, Baker Mayfield, I think we talked about him like 25-1 or something like that preseason for MVP. That was one of my picks. I liked it. Now he's 950. I mean, numbers aside, let's look at the path realistically because that's important. Tampa Bay has a legitimate chance to be a 1 or 2 seed in the NFC at this moment. They have a legitimate chance. They lose the tiebreaker over Philly, so that hurts. But Mayfield's numbers have been awesome. But when you factor in the injuries that they've had to overcome, he's got 4 game-winning drives in 5 weeks. Mayfield is really drawing a narrative. Like, there's no quarterback right now that's drawing a bigger narrative in the NFL than Baker Mayfield. Like, he's all over social media, which, believe it or not, it plays a bigger part than you would think. So he's got that working. And listen, man, I think with the performance, it's really looking good for him. Now, this is the thing. They have a big few weeks coming up here. 49ers at Lions, not just big for MVP, but big for seeding, so also big for MVP. At Saints, home to Patriots. Then they go to Buffalo and go to LA. But then they finish with the Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. So my thing is this. If Baker Mayfield has a good game and the Bucs win on Sunday against 49ers, he's going to shrink. But if somehow they go into Detroit on Monday night, next Monday, or 2 weeks from a couple days ago, and they beat the Lions, that number is really going to come down.
Yeah.
Then he's got a couple winnable matchups with New England and New Orleans, Buffalo, Rams, and then 6 really winnable games. So there's a couple resume boosters on here for him. If he's able to beat Goff, he's able to beat Stafford, he's able to beat Josh Allen. If you're going to bet him, I think now's the time to bet him. I think now's the time to bet him. Because if you run the risk of not betting him and say the Bucs win the next 2 games, that number's going to be cut in half.
Yep.
Whereas, listen, if they lose, say they lost both games, Mayfield maybe goes from 950 to back to like 14-1, 15-1, which, like, given the fact that would only be halfway through the season, I would much rather bet him and him lose and then buy back at 15-1 than wait, they win, and then he gets cut in half. I think Mayfield right now is a great bet in the MVP market. I think Goff is a solid bet because ultimately the AFC, Mahomes, it's going to be hard for him to win if Kansas City doesn't go on a run here.
Yep, big time.
Because they wouldn't be a 1 or 2 seed. Listen, Josh Allen's played really well, but he's won one. And maybe there'd be a desire to give it to somebody else. But, like, other than that, there's nobody to bet. Not betting Prescott, not betting Herbert, not betting Lamar, Hurts, Daniel Jones, Drake May, JD. Darnold at this point, I think they're going to lose too many games for them to be in contention. Other than that, I don't really have anybody to bet. Truth be told, man. I mean, if you're looking at a flyer, maybe Jonathan Taylor at 100-1. But we know how they don't give it to running backs.
Nope.
But if somehow the Indianapolis Colts win like 12 games and Taylor's got 25 touchdowns and he's got pushing 2,000 yards and the quarterback play isn't anything spectacular, maybe like JT's leading the league in carries, yards, and touchdowns. He's got a 5.1 yards per carry. He's got 7 total scores. I mean, that's possible. Like, JT's probably the only flyer I would take at the moment. I mean, I wouldn't even count on it either, but if there was any non-quarterback I'd pick, it'd be him.
Yep, fair enough for me. I was gonna bet Stafford passing yards leader. That line is already now down to plus 200. It was around plus 600, but I just think everyone's like, even like he has a 150 yard game, 150 yard lead right now too. And I looked at the opposing pass defenses he's going to play. It's going to be much easier than what Dak has, but now it's already down to plus 200. So not much to talk about.
410 on FanDuel.
Actually, I'm going to take that. That's really good.
You're welcome, by the way. So I think those are interesting. But Baker's definitely a guy I would be looking at the moment because he's looked really good. Any interest in Sammy D to lead the league in passing yards? 7th right now, 1246. He's less than 300 away from Stafford. You're getting him at about 35-1. He was a guy preseason I looked at. Remember, I highlighted him preseason with Dak Prescott. Any desire there on Sammy D?
No, because the Seahawks have been the quickest team when they're up big to take the foot off the gas. Not in terms of, but in terms of passing, it's been, we're shutting this shit down. And then they play some pretty good pass defenses. They still got to play the Niners again. They have to play the Falcons. They have to play the Vikings. They have to play I'm forgetting a team. Viking. Oh, and the Colts. So
never know though.
Never know, right?
No.
I mean, it's a big number. It's not bad.
I'll put it to you this way. Looking at passing yards leaders, other than Stafford, I think Prescott's going to have a case too. Prescott and Sam Darnold were my two guys. But Mahomes, I probably wouldn't bet. Herbert, I don't think I'd bet.
No.
Goff, I probably wouldn't bet. Mayfield's 13-1. Mayfield's interesting. Allen, I wouldn't bet. Geno, I wouldn't bet. Drake May, no. Jordan Love, probably not. Daniel Jones, no. Trevor Lawrence, no. Caleb, no. Bo Nix, no. Penix, no. Stroud, no. Tua, no. Rodgers, no. Bryce, no. Kyler Murray, no. Like, none of these guys I'd be betting. Sam Darnold's the guy I would bet. I think 34-1 is an interesting flyer. 7th right now. Granted, you know, it's not going to be that game script every week like that we had last week. And that's not Seattle's formula for success. But if a couple quarterbacks miss a couple games or they fall off, like ultimately, I don't anticipate, say, Drake May, who's 5th right now, being like a top 5 option the rest of the way. Daniel Jones is 3rd. I don't anticipate that. Stafford, Prescott, fine. Baker, fine. May, no. Mahomes, probably not at this point. And let's also remember something. Darnold's 7th in yards, but he is 21st in attempts.
Yeah.
So the attempts could be an issue because they're not throwing as much. Like volume is a big part of it. But I think at 34-1, like there's definitely worse flyers you can take to lead the league in passing yards, Brad.
Yeah.
Anything in the way of defensive player of the year or defensive rookie of the year?
No. I did think that if you didn't get on Hutchinson earlier, you can get on Hutchinson to lead in sacks. He's getting close to being in the lead after last week. He had two sacks called out last week, if you guys remember that. He had 2 freaking sacks called out, which was such BS. He is down by 2 sacks to Nick Bonito, but I don't think that's going to stand up. I don't think Byron Young is going to stay on the same pace that he started the season with. I thought that number was pretty good at 6 or 8-1, whatever it's at, and he was at 3-1 at the beginning of the season. I bet him at the beginning of the season, so I can't rebet him. I'm not going to rebet him, but I think that's a pretty good number.
Yeah, Hutchinson's doing well. He's doing better than I thought he would coming off the injury.
Dude,
Parsons,
he looks good.
Yeah, I'm not buying Parsons right now. I just don't think he's getting enough snaps. Maybe at some point during the year. Nick Bonito, he had a really good shot last year in terms of overall numbers.
Yeah.
I don't think he's dead. Myles Garrett, I think is always interesting. They love Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
5-1's not bad. Will Anderson's 18-1. That's a big drop off. What's the status for Anderson? I think he got banged up last week or the week before.
Yeah, he's been on the injury report the last 2 years though.
Is he good to go? Is he?
Yeah, here I have it right here. Let me pull it up. Boop, 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 boop. ABC. I have to do my alphabet real quick. Will Anderson not on the report this week.
Okay,
so good to go.
That makes he's good. I mean, he's got 3 sacks, but that's really all he's got.
The report looks.
He doesn't have anything in terms of like forced fumbles. I mean, Will Anderson's worth a sprinkle at 18-1, I think.
Yep.
But I mean, unless he does something so incredible, Houston's bad. They're probably not a playoff team. Whereas Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are probably the 2 guys that could get away with being on bad teams with the numbers that they usually put up and get not just consideration, but win the awards. But I don't know. I'm not rushing to get in on this market. I think there's a lot of time and things could certainly change. Is Abdul Carter still your defensive rookie of the year pick, or Jihad Campbell's throwing a lot
Dude,
of?
actually, I think Jihad Campbell's making a good case. Jihad Campbell's freaking flying all over the place. He won't have the sack numbers, but that dude is flying all over the place. Man, I was so excited to be watching him as an Alabama guy. Holy crap.
Doesn't hurt that he plays for the Eagles defense.
Yeah, bro, dude's flying all over the place. And you can just see, like, he's such a smart player. Like, the Eagles don't really care if it's a fit. They just want either a freak athlete or they want someone smart as hell for their defense. That's all they do is draft guys like that. Freak athlete, the Jalen Carters of the world, or the Abdul Carters, who's like the quarterback kind of guy, Smart.
Yeah. Also, Tampa to win the NFC 12-1.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Like, let's look at it. Washington, okay. I mean, Washington's, of course, a player for sure. But overall, I think Tampa's better, especially when they get healthy. San Francisco is shorter than Tampa. I don't agree with that. The Rams are shorter than Tampa. They're constructed similarly constructed. That is a game that will come down to the wire. Tampa, Green Bay, fully healthy Tampa, I'd put up against Green Bay.
Yep.
Philadelphia, Tampa, I'd put Tampa up against Philly. Detroit, Tampa, we'll get that matchup in a couple weeks, or next week we'll get that matchup, I think. I put Tampa up against any of these teams. Not necessarily saying, hey, they're flat out better, but matchup wise, the Tampa is a team that can go in anywhere and at least put up a fight. And maybe a couple things go their way. Like we've seen it the past couple of years where they go into the playoffs and they're going against good NFC teams, and they fall play short. 12-1 on Tampa, I think, is a good bet to win the NFC.
I did too.
I think it's a little long. I'd honestly probably switch San Francisco and Tampa. I think Tampa should probably move more like 850. San Fran be 12-1. If I was pricing this market, that's probably where I would put that. Brad, anything else? Any other future division? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh man, it's good with me, dude. Good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. Covered a lot today. It was good that we got the awards check-in, the futures check-in. But everybody, really appreciate you joining today, spending this Wednesday evening with us here. Brad, we're live for Sunday, big dog, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
We are. We're back in business. The boys are back. And for anybody following baseball, the Cubs got one back, 2-1. Detroit tied the series, 2-2. The Yankees are 3 outs away from getting clipped by Toronto. And Philadelphia and LA are halfway in, Philly up 3-1. But really appreciate you taking the time this evening. It was a blast as always. And Sunday morning, 10 a.m., we'll be covering the kickoff. I am not waking up earlier than that to cover the Broncos-Jets before you even think about that. But make sure you lock in with us Wednesday morning where we cover the rest of the slate, last-minute thoughts, details, bets, anything that might tickle our fancy. Brad, you are a scholar and a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you so much for taking the time this evening.
Peace, dude.